Biggest mistake business owners make is thinking they need to reinvent the wheel.
Most people don't realize that all the successful companies are running the same core systems.
That's why we're hosting the Home Service Hoorah, September 7th, 8th, and 9th in beautiful Pensacola Beach, Florida.
We're giving away the exact systems, playbooks, and operations we use to scale to multi-seven figures.
You're learning from real business owners that have been there and done that.
People who are in your exact position and scaled their business without losing everything.
Tickets will sell out, so register now at homeservicehoorah.com. Again, that's homeservicehoorah.com.
Running a home service business is hard. So how is it that some people make it look so easy? Well, we'll tell you. This is the Freedom Blueprint Podcast. It's always good to hear the wins that successful contractors have. But have you ever thought that the best advice would be to hear about the speed bumps they encountered, the mistakes they've made along the way? We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. We want you to be successful and avoid the mistakes others have made. Let's get this party started. Welcome to the Freedom Blueprint Podcast. Now your host, Justin Deese.
Welcome back to another episode of Freedom Blueprint Podcast. I'm your host, Justin Deese, and we are hanging out today. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see the studio we're in is not the normal studio. And if you checked out a couple episodes ago, I said Chris and I are about to take the RV on a road show. And this is actually our second stop on the road show. Our first one was in our same town in Pensacola, so I don't think that really counts. But hanging out with Joe Strittmatter today out here in beautiful and busy Denton, Texas.
Very much so.
What's up, my man?
Oh, man. Just living the dream.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about that dream here in a minute. Joe's been on the show before. I actually don't remember what episode. I feel like as the host, I should know that, but I don't. So here I am crushing it.
A year ago.
So 50-ish episodes ago, which, by the way, we're almost at 150. This might be 150. I don't know yet.
Wow.
But, yeah, we're
hope to hit the milestone.
I know. We'll have to check. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, so on this trip out to Vegas, we're heading out to ACA. Joe was kind enough to let us come and hang out with him and his wife, show us the new digs. And we want to talk a little bit about what you got going on now. So give us a little bit of your background and your history, and then we'll get into what it looks like today with all this cool stuff. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see all the cool stuff around us.
Yeah, so Joe Strittmatter, second generation HVAC tech and business owner. Had a company named Strittmatter. We started it back in 04-05 timeframe, mainly as a construction company. Got pretty successful with it till 09. Had to completely reset after 09.
08, 09 had a lot of downfalls to anybody in the construction space for sure.
Yeah, and so transitioned it over to a service company versus a construction company. At that time, my wife came on. Was supposed to have been momentary, a short stop.
Mm-hmm. And then you're like, wait a minute, you can't go anywhere.
I think that was more her than me.
She's like, wait a minute, I can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
You need my help, sir.
Yeah, that's just kidding. But no, I actually did need her help. So fast forward to 2021, we ended up selling to private equity, became regional president for my private equity firm, and took about as much of corporate as I could stand. And yeah, I'm in the trades for a reason. I'm not an office guy. I'm not a white collar guy. I'm just a blue collar guy. And so had my fill of it, and now out of my non-compete, and here we are again. My son just graduated this last December from the University of North Texas here locally with a degree in finance. And he's looking around at the world and saying, we really need to do a trades company. And so here we are back in it. For good or bad, we're going to find out. But
I bet it's going to be for good. But what's interesting is, and you see this a lot when owners are selling and sticking around with private equity groups. I know I've talked about our experience. We had a great experience with our private equity group. The team has been all the team as of now still there, except me, but everybody else is there. But it is a tough transition. Being a true entrepreneur, as most people can probably attest to, it's difficult when you get into that because the truly, depending on how big the private equity group is, it just operates different, right? And there's a big difference between small business America and corporate America. Again, it really varies on the size of the group that you sell to or whatever the case may be. But
well, and even talking to friends, we have tons of friends who have sold to various private equity firms, and just the firm you sell to can be a different experience.
100%. The deal you have, the firm you sell to, what their backing looks like. I mean, listen, my business partner is thriving. He's loving it. He's still my business partner in other businesses. I guess technically not that one, but he's loving it, man. He's I don't know his official title. It's regional of something. But anyway, so
Just sounds cool to say regional president.
yeah. So okay, so you sold, and then I know for a minute, and actually when you were on the show last time, you were about to jump in, but you were going to be in a different vertical in the home service space. I think a lot of it had to do with the non-compete.
Absolutely.
But then over the last couple of months, you went and you pivoted to what we're looking at now, which is Rite NOW.
Yes.
Looking at Rite NOW.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, no, I have a good friend that was in the garage door business or is in the garage door business, and a bunch of other friends who have jumped in with them. And we got right down to the wire, and it was like, man, my non-compete's not that far away.
And you know this business. That's the trick.
That was the trick.
Yeah.
As I knew this was coming, and I was going to have too many irons and too many fires, and so got right down to the end, and was like, oh, no.
Like, I'm months away, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So we ended up, we parted ways friends. We still talk today, or, whenever we see each other. We're, no hard feelings either way.
Yeah.
But I'm just an AC guy and plumber. I never thought I'd be a plumber, but I am now. So
plumbing's pretty cool. AC's pretty cool.
Yeah.
20 years ago, I don't think people thought it was as cool as they do now.
No, and that's what I told my dad graduating high school when he asked me if I was going to take his original company over. I was like, no, who wants to be an AC tech? Little did I know, I'd come crawling back, groveling.
There's a little bit of money in this business, right? A little bit of money in it.
Yes. I mean, it's a good, healthy way of making a living. I mean, you don't even have to talk about private equity. I mean, yeah, that's brought in a massive influx of cash. But, I mean, just having a $2 million company a year, if you pay attention to everything and you're at a 20% net, I mean, who can't live off $400,000 a year,
Well, and I think, part of what's happened over the last, I'm going to say 5 years, and it's probably longer than that, is people tend to focus so much on top end and forget about the entire revenue point, the whole reason
Purpose.
we do this, right? So sure, it's great to, what would you rather do? Would you rather have a $10 million company making $400,000 or a $2 million company making $400,000? Like,
there's no question.
no question.
Right.
So I think you've always done a very good job of that. I mean, we've known each other for quite a few years, and we've talked about numbers and percentages, and because you've got to know that stuff. Because if you don't know it, then you can't pay attention to it.
Correct.
And if you're not paying attention to it,
Then you don't have a business.
you ain't got a business. It's whooping you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was never concerned with top line. And I have a phrase that I say, but I was rightfully corrected by Ken Goodrich. I always said revenue is vanity and net profits are sanity. And he corrected me and said, no, you got to have the revenue in order to have the nets. So it's like, okay, I'll meet you in the middle.
Yeah.
Right. And so, no, I was always focused on net profits more so than revenue, because I mean, when we sold, we were 12.5 million, maybe 13. but I was running a 20% net, and there were years that we ran a 25% net.
Mm-hmm.
So with running that kind of net, I was actually more profitable than a lot of $40, $50 million companies, and I didn't have the circus to contend with.
Right. You got a lot less headcount.
Yeah.
And less headcount, less headache.
Right.
That's the name of that game.
Yeah, I mean, I've had people. I have a friend named George. When I first met him, he told me he was just starting his company. I'm going to build $100 million company, and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And I told him, I was like, you don't want to do that. I'm running a almost $30 million beast, and trust me, you don't want to do that. Well, now George is at $2 million, running a 32% net, and he said, "Yeah, I want a $10 million."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Way less headache.
Well, but I think that, the internet and the social medias and the YouTubes and the all the other Facebook, Instagrams, whatever, they always highlight the sexy being that big number, right? When you see the guys that are like, here's my fancy car and whatever, it's like, oh, I sold $400 million last year. And I think most, and I know for you, you look at that and go, yeah, but what'd you make? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's fantastic, but did you make $10?
Right. Yeah. I've seen people do 10 million and be bankrupt the next year.
Yeah, it happened. I mean, because again, anything in your business, especially your numbers, and the two things in this business that'll kill you the fastest is your labor and your materials. And if you don't watch them every single stinking day, that will eat you up. And that's your most controlled cost.
Right. Well, in theory, that gets back to how you pay people. I mean, are you paying hourly? Are you paying percentage? Do you have the POs in place? Do you have true job costing going on each job? I mean, there's certain measures that have to be put in place to make sure those things stay in check.
Yep. Very cool. So let's talk about right now.
Okay.
Take us to right now.
So we started, my son graduated December 12th, 13th, somewhere around that time frame. And that's when we started. And today is March 13th. We have been doubling month over month revenues. We're still what I like to say pre-profit.
Sure.
But it looks like this month we're going to break even.
3 months in, that's pretty impressive.
Yes. And so I'm not upset with it. And we're even marketing. Our marketing budget is a budget for about an $8.5 million company.
Yeah. So one of the things when we were taking the tour that I got to see was your goodie bag. Mm-hmm. We won't go into all the stuff that's in there, but there's a lot of really cool stuff. And I think it's going to make a big splash for your customers, very memorable. And I think that's going to help. And I think that's a lot of times when new businesses start, it's like the chicken and the egg. They're like, well, do I spend money on marketing before I have the phones ringing, or do I have enough text? And you're going all in, no, you need to, they got to know who you are. We'll solve the tech problem as we go.
Absolutely. The branding will actually lower your marketing cost because people will search you out directly, or when they do go to PPC or LSA or wherever, and they see the name, they'll have the name recognition to where they'll click on you. I actually, I think it was Tommy Mello. I know it was Tommy Mello. I don't remember where he said this at. But whenever he opens a new A1 location, he walks in and spends 150% of the revenue they expect to make that year, first year in marketing alone. And I believe year 2, he brings that down to 100% and then culls back as the years go by. And so he just walks in and makes a massive splash to where everybody knows exactly who they are.
Which I personally would not do that. I think it's a solid plan. I think it's a ballsy move.
Absolutely.
But there's no way you can't do that without knowing your numbers.
Absolutely. 100%.
And if you're listening to this and you take nothing else away from this whole conversation, know your numbers. Like there's nothing more important that you can do in your business than to know and understand your numbers.
I mean, we look at numbers sometimes down to the hour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I showed you the boards downstairs that we're updating daily or a couple times a day to show our techs exactly where they are.
Right.
But more importantly, where their co-workers are.
Right. Ethical bullying. I love that term. Like, I'm not saying it. The board's saying it. I mean, if Tommy's giving you a hard time about it, I mean, take it up with HR. So for anybody who's not watching and can't see the logo and can't see the name, tell us a little bit about the brand. What was the inspiration behind it? Where'd the name come from? Give us some background on that.
Yeah, so the logo, something else I stole from Ken Goodrich. Did you know that the logo of Gattle was Duncan, his son?
I did know that only because I was somewhere and he was talking about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is actually my son, Jared. The caricature is Jared. The name, we're sitting around and starting to think, okay, what's something relevant to customers? And, people just keep saying right now. I mean, we were talking about it earlier.
Yeah.
How many times it had been said in the conversation that we were having.
And you weren't saying it, but you were giggling, and everybody's like, what are you giggling about? You're like, you've all said right now.
Yeah. And so that's the NLP.
Right.
It just rolls off the tongue, and it also explains when, we can play off of it, done right, done now. When do you want something? Well, we can do it right now. I mean, there's so many ways of using it, so many different variations. It's like, it actually makes sense. And then I wanted to go with kind of like a retro throwback sort of logo. And so that's what this is. If you're from Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico area, you'll know what Sonic is. So it almost looks like a Sonic logo, at least on the right-hand side. But yeah, and then we have the rocket that's going around it. And if you ever see our vans, we have rockets on top of our vans. So literally shooting down the road, we're getting whistles to put on top of them also, so you can hear them coming as they whistle right by you.
And flames in the back.
Yep.
But they're not speeding. They're staying a safe.
Sure.
Of course, if you drive a safe speed here in Texas, you're not ever going to pass anybody.
No,
so
not at
you've
all.
got to go 40 miles over the speed limit in order to have any chance of
And that's
getting
only
in front
in the
of
middle lane, not the left lane.
So driving here, I was telling you this earlier, driving here, there's road construction everywhere because this area is just booming, and we're in this RV, and I'm like white knuckle driving, man, like just doing the very best I can to not get run over. And the RV, now it's a diesel pusher, so it'll go, but people are passing me. They're doing 105. Yeah. I'm like 70. Come on, man.
The toll roads, 95's cruising speed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay, so you've launched this 3 months now. This is a question from curiosity and because I've done that before, right? Like I've sold, and when we sold the first time, I was like, I'm not doing that again. And then we did it again. And we're like, all right, well, if we do it again, how are we going to do it differently this time? So what are some things that you and Tanya sat back and went, okay, here's some non-negotiables from last time to this time, or what are some things that we're going to do better at the beginning than what we did last time?
Structure and just figuring out, the left hand knows what the right hand's doing off the bat. It took us years to realize before that we needed this proper structure in place. That's the first thing. Second was service area. I learned a lesson taking over the former company. They were only running about 2.3 billable hours per day. And my guys were running 6.5 billable hours per day.
Big difference.
Massive.
Mm-hmm.
And so we called back on the service area. We're shooting for a 4-to-1 field to office ratio. So we're kind of leaning into technology. We were even building our own app for internal stuff to do a number of things for us. We're looking at this now. How can we be the most efficient? And I'm shooting for a 30% net. if we can achieve that, then I don't, it's almost unheard of, right? I know of maybe 2 or 3 that I would actually trust telling me they've hit a 30% net.
Most companies that I know that are at that range, that 30%, the owner is very, very, very heavily involved, like super duper heavily involved. Not saying that you can't do it without that, but anybody that I've ever seen that's truly done it, because there's people that say they've done it,
Right.
and there's people that actually done it. Most of the guys are like, and it's not that they don't want to, it's what they want to do. Those guys, like, they're drivers, they want to be there. That's what they love. It's their passion. And they hit crazy good numbers, but they're in it, man. They're in the woods.
No, and you have a point. I mean, and they can play numbers games, where they used to be paying themselves $100,000 a year. They're paying themselves 50, there's
Right.
So you've got to look at a number of things. Like I said, there's only 2, maybe 3 that I actually trust that have told me they've done that. And I'm not concerned with building a massive business at this point. Now, in the future, knowing me and my competitiveness, I'll probably expand out. But, my focus right now is just getting this one up and going. If and when we do expand, it'll be through new locations.
Would you do it through acquisition or greenfield it?
If the right opportunity was there, there's pros and cons each way, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yep.
There's tax incentives and things on acquisition. You also got the flywheel already turning. But if you look at, like I said, Tommy earlier, if you have the ability and the resources to just walk in and drown everybody else out in marketing, then do you want to buy all their liabilities?
Yeah. I mean, obviously asset purchase, but yeah, I would, I'm with you. If I were to do it again, we grew through acquisition. I would grow through acquisition, but I would have done it better. Like, we didn't do a good job of growing through acquisition. I feel like I would do better this time. Because customers are hard to come by. It is nice to have a customer base, but typically when you acquire somebody, especially if they're a smaller company, what's the first thing you do? You almost always double the price because they're charging $50 an hour, and you're like, okay, well, now we're going to quadruple the price.
Right.
And so you end up losing half the customers anyways. But
well, and I think that's probably normal to lose 40, 50%. So you've got to go in knowing that's coming.
Yeah.
However, it could be really, really good for you also, as far as, a lot of those guys that are smaller like that don't have crews to say go do installs. And so they've been nursing things along for however long.
Yep.
No, I told you before we got on here, we've already sold 48,000 today. One guy's.
I know, he was super pumped, and he was sitting there and he goes, I mean, I could probably hit 100. I'm like, well, you can't 100 sitting right there.
Yeah.
Or getting that truck.
Yeah. I mean, one guy's already sold $48,000 today.
Yeah.
So, there's, like I said, there's pros and cons each way. There's good and bad that comes with each one of them.
Sure. Yeah. So, okay. So, I think that's a good lesson on the range, because I think, again, a lot of times especially when people start the first, especially home service business, you're like, I'll just take money. I need money, so I'll go wherever to go get the money. It does take a certain level of maturity to look at it and go, no, man, I need like 6 miles. Like 6 miles, because now you're looking at the business through a billable efficiency mindset, not a revenue, got to make $100 mindset. So I think that's a good one to share. What about like any kind of thing you can think of that's that you did last time and you're like, no way, I'm not doing that this time?
Well, we don't have comfort advisors.
Okay.
We're not running comfort advisors at this one, at least at this time. We're doing selling techs. And when you start looking at a P&L, start looking at numbers and profitability, I mean, there's people in the DFW area that are paying 12, I think I've heard of one paying 14% to a comfort advisor.
Wow.
How much do they just pay to the tech that flipped it? And now how much are they paying their installers? I mean, we can only be at a max of 20% direct labor cost.
Yeah.
And I mean, you just blow that out of the water, right? And so good buddy of mine, Billy Stevens, really drove this home to me a couple years ago. And To do an install, it takes 5 people, and it's 22 man hours.
Mm.
When you start looking, you
Yeah.
break it all the way down. There's 5 people and 22 man hours, and so also you're paying your general liability off of revenue, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not off of nets. They don't care how much you made.
Right.
They just want to know how much you build out. And so currently, the environment is everybody's shopping. I mean, they're shopping like we had one the other day. The guy you spoke to went out to on a marketed lead, and the gentleman that owned the house told him, all right, there's been 4 of them here before you. There were 2 more there at the same time. There's 2 more coming after you guys and 1 tomorrow. Everybody's cutting their margins by 20, 30, 40% just to sell these systems, especially private equity, because that's really the only lever they have to pull, right? And so they're cutting it. So they're putting some dollars towards break even, but they're not putting a lot, but they're compounding their issues because of fuel expense for all those vehicles, your general liability, your wear and tear on your vehicles, just more vehicles as a whole, more insurance for the vehicles, more payroll taxes, more whatever. I see us moving back to a 90s, 2000s sort of model to where there's more parts and pieces being done. And the thing is, we walk in and, around here, the average system's probably 16, 17,000 right now. That's even for a single stage. People are dropping it to 12 to, try to sell them. Well, what if I can sell them a $7,000 condenser at a 75% gross margin?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not paying as much for all the different people, all the payroll taxes. I'm not paying as much in my insurance. And that's 4 man hours versus 22.
Well, and think about what's happening with the customer, right? So when you do that, the customer's like, wait a minute, they just saved me.
Exactly.
I mean, you didn't. The prolonged problem's still there, but it's prolonged. But now you have time to build, know, like, and trust a little bit harder with that customer so that when it is game time, they're not calling 19 contractors to come get, because all they're doing is saving $1.
Right. Well, and to that point, you're expanding the lifetime value of the customer.
Right.
I mean, you literally just double dipped on them.
Right. And now they've got a maintenance agreement. Now you're seeing them once or twice a year. Mr. Jones trusts you. He's got your sweet swag bag.
Correct.
So he's got all that stuff in his house. So he's thinking about you all the time.
Your profitability goes through the stinking roof.
Yep.
And now you're not paying the $300, probably $500 for a booked call right now. So, you did the work, you got something out of it, you at least recouped your $500, and now you got a free call down the road for a big ticket.
Yep.
What if they have 3 systems on that house?
Which here in Texas, I'm guessing the average is probably 2.
2 and a quarter, 2.5 is what we figured.
Yeah, that's because you guys have basements here. And
No basements. We just have all the McMansions that are 4,000 or 5,000 square feet.
That don't have basements.
Don't have no basements.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we have clay soil. You can't have it'll tear that basement up.
Mm.
We need them for the tornadoes, but we don't have them.
Storm shelter.
Yes.
Well, that's cool. New name, new brand, new partners. Because now your son is now a partner.
Yes.
So like family business.
Absolutely.
Which, how exciting is that?
It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's exciting. It's good to see him step up. A lot of times he's beaten me to the office.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do something about that. But no, he's in it 110%, and I've told him he's literally gonna work every single position in the organization.
Yeah.
Summer's almost on us, so he won't be this year. But this fall and winter, we're sending him to school for tech school.
Great.
And next year he'll be out in the field running calls. Right now he's answering calls. He's booking calls. He's dispatching calls. He's handling the office side. And so he's entering payroll and doing the job costing and things of that nature so that he understands the business side of it. now I want him on the field side of it so he understands what the guys are saying when that capacitor was only 10% under, or something's over amping. Right now he doesn't know what the heck I'm talking about.
Right.
But and I want him on the plumbing side too to understand, how a sewer camera works, and what all goes into excavating and bedding in a pipe, and all that, so he knows what he's doing.
So I'm going to give you a prediction, and this is recorded. So
Okay.
all right. So we have a lot of friends that have gone down the selling path, and we have a lot of friends who also have decided that the entrepreneurial is a thing inside of us that a bored entrepreneur is a scary thing, right? Like,
True.
It's an unsafe thing. Ask my wife.
Oh,
She's like,
trust me, my wife. I can't leave the house with spending money.
yeah. So this is me included. Most people that sell their businesses and start another one, they meet or beat what their revenue number was and their other business within 18 months.
Holy crap.
I'm just saying.
And
that's a fact that you can't Google. There's no Reddit. You can't AI it. That's just me telling you that from people that I know.
I'd be happy at a quarter of what we used to do.
I'm just saying. I mean, think about, even from the moment you sold, the things you've learned, the way technology's changed, how much efficiency you've changed in your business in 3 months. Dude, the flywheel, I just walked around with you. I'm like, oh, they're going to blow this thing up. Like, you're thinking about how to load the trucks the most efficient, and they pull in, and how do they get that, and how they go. I mean, it's just my prediction. You heard it here first.
I hope my wife doesn't hear this.
Well, you know what? I don't know if she watches the show now or not. When you're like, hey, did you like that podcast? She's like, yeah, babe, it was great. She didn't. So this is now your test.
Oh, Lord. I mean, I had a possible 3-year path to it. I don't know about 18 months.
I was just giving you the information.
Okay. Well,
I'm not saying, because here's the deal. Again, the beautiful thing about running these businesses is they're hours to run. So we can do whatever we want to do with them. If we want it to be a $3 million business, make it a $3 million business. And I think, from when you first started the business, I'm guessing your focus was on like revenue and making payroll, and right? Like, your thinking was that.
Break-even's all I care about.
Right? Now in this new business, your new 2.0, I mean, look at how you're looking at the business in a completely different way.
That's true.
And now you're already thinking about billable efficiency and routing, and I think it's cool. And again, even if it's a $3 million business that you want to hit, or $4 million in the next, call it 12 months, I bet it's going to be so much more efficient. I'm excited to watch. I'm excited to hang out and get a front row seat.
I'll agree that it'll be way more efficient than the last one, 100%. But yeah, 4 million is my stretch goal for the first year.
Okay. All right. Y'all heard it. I think you're going to blow it out of the water.
I hope my wife doesn't listen to this.
Again, we're going to know.
Yeah.
Well, cool. All right. So one last thing, just for anybody listening who is in a spot in their business where they're struggling a little bit, any advice you can think of to give them, besides to make sure and watch all the podcasts and learn from all the people that are on it, because they're all super smart.
I've talked to a lot of people here recently who have been having a hard time with their businesses. The thing is I'm trying to think who does this. Was it Gary Vee? Stand back and look at your business, and there's lots of things that we've always been told or taught is just how you go to business, right? And it's like we're handcuffed. We have to continue doing these things. But who's handcuffing us? We're the ones handcuffing ourselves, right? And so actually sit back and look at things and analyze everything within your business, and you can color outside the lines, right? So our new maintenance plan is 1 trip a year. Well, I actually ran the math on it, and it's been years ago, but I can't remember if it was 100 or 1,000 maintenance plans or 5,000 maintenance plans. The second trip, when you're honest with yourself on $0 tickets, on labor burden, on other costs, I think it was costing me $400,000 or $500,000 a year in EBITDA. And the manufacturers only require 1 a year. Well, we're compounding issues. Every time we open those systems up, we're asking for more things to go wrong. Why don't we just leave them alone and run 1 a year? Something that we're doing with the new maintenance plan also that was just thinking outside the box. And Jesse Cole, I got a chance to meet Jesse Cole.
Yeah.
Thanks to Tersh. I was out there in Savannah and I met Jesse Cole and experienced a Savannah Bananas game. And I came back with a whole new vision of the company. We're charging $5 a month to our maintenance plan members that sign up for it. But with that, I'm going to send somebody out to their house every 3 months to change their air filters. It was just something different that nobody else, you hear of that in commercial, right? But nobody's done that in residential. And so locally, we have a high school vocational school. And once we get enough of those memberships signed, I'm just going to go up to the vocational school and ask the teachers if I can talk to the students, or if they have any students that, are looking to get in the AC business that want a job after hours or on the weekends, just going around changing filters.
Yep.
And we're even getting it down to they won't even need to pick up filters. I'm going to work with, I'm working with Contractor Commerce to figure out how to schedule it to where the filters are already pre-delivered as soon as we sell the maintenance plan, and it knows how to do it over and over again. So all the person has to do is show up here, jump in a company vehicle, drive over to Miss Jones's house. She already has a filter. Just go swap it and leave.
Tight route. You can get a lot of those done in a day.
Absolutely. And so we're just looking at it differently. Like you said, the swag bags that we're giving out on each one. We're trying to up our game compared to all of our competition. There's been a lot of people come up in the area since we left, and created this vacuum effect. And so now I have to increase my game to get my old customers back. And so how can I increase my game? I think that's the biggest driver for me right now is my competitiveness. And okay, I left. You were able to take them from my old company, but I'm going to take them back. And how do I do that? And it was with innovation and just being different than everybody else.
Jesse Cole is probably the most out-of-the-box guy ever. And I was talking to Tersh about him, and he said, that's why Tersh probably told you this. That's why he wears the suit the way he does and all that. And he said that Jesse Cole told him, I would have all my plumbers in white tuxedos. He said, if I were to start a plumbing company, that's what I would do.
Look,
that bill would get high.
Look at the rockets on our truck.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
If y'all haven't seen our trucks, we have the transits and we have little rockets on top of our trucks.
We'll have some pictures on the Facebook page, so make sure and go check those out. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, we're just we're just completely thinking of everything, trying to reinvent every portion of the business. And as we come across something, we're all sitting back as a group and saying, okay, how can we change this? And so that's part of the beauty of my son not knowing everything yet.
I agree. I 1,000% agree, because one of the worst questions, like when you ask somebody a question that runs a business and they give you the answer of that's just how we've always done it.
Yeah. What is that? The cutting that ends off the ham? Have you heard that? So this guy married his wife, and she was cooking ham, I guess, for Christmas or whatever. And she cut the ends of it off. And
I have heard this, but finish the story. Yes.
yeah. And so he's like, why are you doing that? Well, that's the way you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the way my mom always did it. All right. Mom comes over. Why do you cut the ends off of it? Well, that's the way my mom always did it. Grandma comes over.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why'd you do it? Well, our panel's so small, we had to cut the ends of it off.
Yep.
And so nothing is off the table.
Right.
Nothing. I mean, I have thought about doing something that would really upset a lot of people, and I don't really care.
You don't strike me as someone that's all that concerned about that.
Well, you and I were talking earlier. We were out in the shop, and I told you I'm going to get to a 4-to-1 ratio between field and office staff.
Mm-hmm.
Because of that, I own my building. I own everything. You know, we have very little overhead other than the absorbent amount of money we're spending in marketing right now. What if I did every job for cost? Literally, if I do every single task for cost, and I have to do $125,000 a month to break even, what happens to my profitability when I hit 250?
I mean, you see the grocery stores now, they all do cost plus 10.
Yeah. So what if I just do every single job for cost? How many jobs are we going to win? Right now, the consumer is hurting.
Boom, there it was. See, now it's going to be stuck in my brain now. Every time I hear that now.
What's that?
You just said right now.
Oh, see, I told you. So yeah, our customers are hurting, and you know, this war is not helping fuel prices or cost of anything, and credit card debt's at an all-time high. Auto loans are at an all-time high as far as delinquencies. There's all these things going on. I told my son the other day, there's a time to make money and there's a time to meet people where they are.
Yeah.
And so if we can keep our costs down by automation and, you know, things, I told you about the app that we're building, and that's going to help out with a lot of things. It's a one-time expense, right? And we can bear the fruits of it for years to come. If we do that, and I can do all my jobs for cost, who else can do that? How many jobs are we going to win versus everybody else? And so that's really something that I'm seriously considering. You know, where everybody's $17,000 for a system, I can be $9,500, $10,000.
But how are you going to do that and hit 30%?
Well, if you have your job numbers correct, right? So let's go down this. 20% direct labor cost.
Yeah.
You have 30% direct materials and parts and pieces. You're at a 50% gross margin, then you have 30% overhead, you're at a 20% net.
I'm going to trust your math.
So if I'm at a 20% net and I take it back down to 80%, right? Every job, I sell it for 80% of what it is in the price book.
Okay.
Give everybody a 20% discount on every single job. But my overhead's $30,000. So if that's 30%, then I have to do rough math, $120,000 in revenue in order to break even. As soon as I hit break even, I'm at a 30% net. Well, 25, let's call it.
Okay.
Because I've hit break even. Now there are some variable costs that will go up, like general liability, fuel, you know, a little wear and tear. So let's call that 5%. I could almost, if I do 250, everything's at a 25% net. So in theory, I'm at a 12.5% over the 250. So I won't hit 30, but at the early stages of building this company.
I was going to say, you're going to acquire a whole lot of customers.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And
which is one of the most expensive things to do right now in this business is acquire customers.
Correct. So, you know, we said it earlier, we have 2.25 to 2.5 systems per house on average.
Mm-hmm.
We have 1.25 water heaters per house per average. What does that look like in 3 years from now when I quit giving that discount?
Yeah.
But I've already helped my competition to find a new form of employment.
Killer, man. This is a good talk. Again, thank you for the hospitality. Appreciate you coming and hanging out again. We're going to stay connected with him because I want to watch how this business grows. I promise you it's going to outperform what he thinks it's going to, because they got a solid team here. I've got to meet them. Those boys are fired up. They're motivated, and they're paying attention to their numbers, which is really a winning combination.
Absolutely.
So cool. Until next time, we will catch you guys again. Later.
You've been listening to the Freedom Blueprint Podcast. Information is useless if not applied. So take what you've learned and go and implement it. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, find us on social media at Freedom Blueprint for Home Services and hit the website at www.freedomblueprintpodcast.com. See you next time.